How's it going, everyone? Peter Malinowski here. I wanted to give you guys an introduction video to my channel. There's a few changes. As you guys have noticed recently, I've uploaded some videos and they have been all over the place. Different topics, tutorials, GoPro footages, and all sorts of things. Initially, when I started my channel, I wanted to do something along the lines of tutorials. I named my channel Digital Moto, and the purpose was to give you guys tutorials about motorcycles, and specifically my motorcycle, which is a Suzuki Boulevard C50T. However, watching some of these YouTube videos and kind of seeing others, I kind of got inspired, and I wanted to start trying to vlog. I know, another YouTube vlogger. Cringe. No, hopefully that's not what's gonna happen. I'll give it a shot, see if I can bring you guys content that you guys will enjoy. But let's talk about me. Let me tell you about me a little bit, and who I am and where I come from. What's my background? So, as I mentioned, my name is Peter Malinowski. I'm a father of a 9-month-old Jacob. He's an amazing little kiddo. I love him to death. I'm also married to a wonderful woman named Angelica. I have a nice family. I live in Colorado, and I enjoy my family life, and I dedicate most of my time to my family. Hence, I don't have a whole lot of time on my hands, but I'm gonna do the best I can with the time that I do have available. What else can I tell you? Let's see. My profession. My full-time job obviously is not YouTube. This is my first video. I'm definitely not getting paid for anything. But that's also not my goal here, is to blow up and make a ton of money one day. If that happens, great. I'm not gonna complain about that, but I'm just doing this for fun. By profession though, my full-time job is a nurse. I'm an ER nurse at a local hospital, a level 3 trauma center. I work in the emergency department as a clinical nurse coordinator, which is my official title. And essentially, I am a frontline leader. I lead the emergency department team during my shifts. So my background's mostly medical. Prior to being a nurse, I was a EMT. I worked pretty much all of my EMT career in the hospital, in the ER. I briefly worked in an ambulance as a second job while I was an EMT in the hospital, but very short-lived. Mostly because the company I worked for did transports rather than 911 calls. They did some 911 calls, but transports is not what I was drawn to. Some of the hobbies that I enjoy to do, and as you guys can see, I'm constantly looking down. It's because I have a nice little list. I can't do this without an outline, otherwise I sound like I'm all over the place. I like to be a little bit structured here. But as far as hobbies, I'm really into video games. I love video games. I've done video games for all my life, as far as I can remember. Unfortunately though, because of my family and having my son recently, I don't have as much time anymore. I try to dedicate as much time to my family, and video games just don't fit into it. The reason I play video games, or I loved to play video games, was to get immersed in the story. Kind of like someone would pick up a book and read a book and get immersed in that book, and just like the term, the page turner, that's how it was for video games for me. I would get immersed in the story. And you can't just do that for popping a game into your PlayStation or Xbox or on your PC and play for an hour and get immersed in it. It's just not how it works for me. I have to play for hours. And when I used to do that with my wife before Jacob was born, I could sometimes play for 8, 9, even 12 hours at a time, and that was just way too much, but that's how I got immersed. So now, unfortunately, I just can't do that anymore. So video games kind of are on a back burner, and that's okay, because these last 9 months, not really being able to immerse myself in video games have opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't pay as much attention to as I should have, as my family, spending quality time with them. My wife would always drill into my head that she wants to go travel. We want to go travel. She wants to go here. She wants to go there. And to me, it was like, oh, that's a lot of money. I could take that money and buy myself brand new game that's about to come out. It's like $60 right there. Or I can put that towards my budget of building a new PC so I can get the latest components in there so I can run that game in 4K 60, which overrated, but whatever. Those were my thoughts. Now recently it's kind of opened my eyes to like thinking about it and deciding, yeah, traveling would be nice. We've traveled a little bit. We've seen some places. We have gone to Europe. We've gone to the Middle East, but not as much as we'd like to. There's still places we want to go see. So thinking about that, investing more time and money into traveling and so forth. So as far as other hobbies other than video games, I love skiing. I don't get to go skiing very often. I actually made the funny mistake of I bought my first ski pass just a few months before Jacob was born. Now that I think about it, that was such a stupid thing to do. It's like, you're about to have a kid and you bought a ski pass, so you're planning on going skiing? Not gonna happen. I went skiing recently. There's actually one of my videos I posted up earlier about me testing out my GoPro and putting that footage up there, and I went skiing to Eldora. And I came back and I told my wife, it's alright, just 5 more times, I gotta go skiing 5 more times to pay for my pass. She assured me it'll happen, but hey, we'll see you at time, right? A couple other things I like to do is I'm an artist, sort of an artist. I draw. I recently got into digital art. However, the thing with my my art hobby is I can't do it unless I'm inspired. There have been times in the past where I can push past that barrier and I can just, start drawing something, and then eventually like I'll see it come to life and then I get inspired and I have to continue it. But most of the time I just can't push through that barrier of inspiration and not having that inspiration. So I don't practice my art as often as I should be practicing, and therefore it's not as good as I'd like it to be, but it's there. When I was a child, I would draw all the time, and it was always like Marvel characters like Spider-Man or Punisher, and my friends and I would always like compare our drawings and stuff like that, and that kind of escalated into something else. But again, the funny thing about this introduction video is that prior to making this video, I had no idea what my content's gonna be, what videos I'm gonna present to you guys. And now that I'm talking to you, I'm like thinking about all these ideas I have for future videos, such as my art. I'm gonna tell you guys about how I got into art and where that click finally happened, where I was moved from drawing Punisher and Spider-Man, which looked terrible, more like doodles than anything else, into actually drawing portraits. But that's gonna come in the future. Now, as I mentioned earlier, initially my channel was intended for tutorials, kind of showing you how to do stuff on your motorcycle or in your car or some GoPro footage or something. Why am I vlogging? It's inspiration, honestly. As I mentioned earlier, I watched a bunch of channels recently. Shout out to Peter McKinnon or Casey Neistat and so forth. Again, I'm not trying to replicate what they're doing. I just got inspired what they're doing. I really think it's awesome what they are doing, and I want to try it. Again, it's kind of I cringe every time I think that I'm vlogging right now, but it lets me express myself and maybe bring some content to you guys that you guys might enjoy. So shout out to those guys for inspiring me to do this, and thank you for inspiring me to do this. Now I do have to apologize to all of you guys. I am very lacking equipment. I am seriously just starting out, so I don't have the equipment that I would like to have to bring you the content that is of high quality. There's a video that I posted recently. It was a tutorial video on installing Cobra drag pipes on your motorcycle, and that was shot on my iPhone. And unfortunately, because it was shot on my iPhone, I can't hold the iPhone in my hand. Let me see if I can pull my iPhone out. I can't hold my iPhone in one hand and install exhaust on the motorcycle at the same time. Obviously, I don't have a tripod or anything I could place my camera on at that point. I just literally had this, and that's what I made that video with. So it's a very crude, very rough video of literally before my pipes were on, during the process, basically having the pipes off, and what it looked like after. So it's a very, very rough tutorial video. So I'm very lacking in equipment. I'm currently recording this on a GoPro Hero 7 Black, which I'm very excited about. I really love this camera, and I can't wait to bring you a video about my thoughts on the GoPro Hero 7 Black, which that's another video I would like to release to you guys. But that's all I'm recording this on. I don't have a mic. I don't have a tripod. Literally my tripod, let me see if I can do this without messing it up. Literally my tripod right now is a cardboard box, my UCCS mug, and Mr. Mountain Lion over there, and he's sitting on top of this mountain lion's nose right there. That's my tripod. And shout out to UCCS. That's the university I attended to get my nursing degree. But again, very lacking equipment. Speaking of equipment and also inspiration, one of the hobbies I just got into is photography. And again, shout out to Peter McKinnon for this one. I never thought about photography in this way, but the artist side of me of drawing and portraits and all that stuff kind of pushed me into it more as an art form, not as a hobby. I really understand what they mean about composition and telling a story through a picture, because when you think about someone, an average person taking a photograph, they just want to capture that moment or what's happening in front of them. When I heard that, all I thought about was how to compose that picture and how can I tell a story that I literally just had in my head to someone that wasn't in my head. How do I explain that to them through that one picture? And that's amazing to me, and I want to master that. So speaking of photography, again, and not having equipment, thankfully 7 years ago my wife and I decided that we need a nice camera to capture all of our memories and our moments. Obviously my wife and I don't know anything about cameras, or are very limited in our knowledge about cameras, and we thought about, well, yeah, we gotta buy a nice camera. You gotta go for like a DSLR or something, right? Because point and shoot's it's not the same thing. So 7 years ago we bought this Nikon D5000, and I always use my kit lens with this, thinking like, yeah, this is amazing. This kit lens is awesome, takes phenomenal pictures and everything. And we just took a bunch of pictures with that. We went to a wedding, we shot photos at a wedding, we went on our honeymoon, we went to Rome, we used that camera to shoot photos in Rome, and it was great. But then I started watching these videos recently, and I also started taking course on Udemy. Shout out to Udemy for having an amazing class. And I learned about my camera and how I'm using it very poorly. So thankfully I had a camera to start off with, so I didn't have to go out and purchase one. But that's something I'm just getting into, is photography, and I hope this sticks. I hope I stick with this hobby. Since I've invested some money into it, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. I finally upgraded from that dreadful kit lens to a 50mm prime, a nifty 50, as some of you might know it. And I'll talk about that in another video, but very happy with it. But yeah, it's probably going to be one of the topics that I talk about a lot in my vlogs. It's going to be photography and cinematography and how I'm learning it. And as far as the future of my channel, as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking a lot about photography and cinematography. This is my journey, this hobby. I plan to stick to this hobby. And with this hobby, this is my day one. Even though I might have just got into this hobby like 2 weeks ago and I've been doing it for 2 weeks, this video is my day one. This is my first video on YouTube as a vlog. And for anyone that's watching this right now, I want to welcome you, because this is my journey. This is my day one of photography and cinematography, and I hope you stick with me. I truly do, because that way you can see how I grow. And like the other vloggers and YouTubers on YouTube, or instructors on Udemy that inspired me to improve myself in photography and cinematography and other aspects of my life, as well as my nursing profession or my riding my motorcycle, improve my motorcycle. I hope I can inspire you by showing you my growth. So stick with me on this. I hope I can show you how my photographs looks today, my photographs and my videos look today, to how I progress in a year or 2 or 5. I know that I can bet money right now that I'm gonna watch this video that I'm recording this moment in about a year or 2, and I'm gonna cringe about how bad the quality is, because I had no idea about how to edit that video. I had no idea how to film it, if I even have that lighting correct, or if I am in the right position here, or my dreadful background right now, because literally this is my office. This is my computer, and behind me here is my flat screen TV with my consoles. This was not intended as a background for a YouTube video. Again, this is ground zero for me. This is where I grow from, and I want to welcome you to my life. If you guys really like the videos and content that I create, obviously this being the first one, please like and subscribe, and I hope I see you again for more videos.